Okay, well, here it is again, supper time. What are we gonna make? So we're gonna go to our trusty little book, the Argus Searchlight Cookbook, and see what we can find. The recipe we drew today is called Meatballs and Vegetables by Nedra Bollinger from Browning, Illinois. This one here is great because this is the weekend and it does take 2 hours to cook, and it is something that can be prepared ahead of time. I did not prepare it ahead of time, but you can prepare it in the morning if you have time and pop it in the oven later so you don't have to wait. So, and this one's great especially on the weekend because you got other things to do besides cook. So we're going to get started with this. It does have 3 phases to it, and it is supposed to be prepared in a casserole dish. Mine is being occupied right now, so we're going to try it in a Pyrex dish and see what happens. Hopefully, we'll have the same results. May cook faster because it's a lot thinner. But this one, the ingredients, you start out by making the bottom layer, which is fairly easy. It's going to have 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 cup of onion, half a cup of celery, 1.5 cups of raw carrots that you diced, and 1.5 cups of raw potato that were pre-diced. Okay, and I already diced them and got them ready to go. The second step we're going to do is we have to make our meatballs. Those are 1 pound of ground beef, which is here, 1 cup of dry breadcrumbs, 1 egg, I'm hiding over here, 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of onion. I have that all in my chopped in my little spoon here. 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon, whoops, salt's over here, pepper. Okay, and then we have to roll. We're going to put this on a plate. We're going to roll our meatballs in the flour before we brown them in the skillet in a little bit of oil. And for just the meatballs, then we're going to put them on top of our vegetables. Then there's a gravy that you have to make. Sounds like a lot, but it's really easy. 2 cups tomato juice, 3 tablespoons of flour, and you're just going to pour that over the meatballs, and you're going to bake it at 350 for 2 hours. So we have preheated our oven, getting it started. It's getting up there. And now I got my apron on so I don't mess up my clothes. Spent money on that, don't want to mess them up. And we've got we're going to wash our hands and get ready to go. Okay, first things first, we have our bowl, and we're going to mix 2 teaspoons of salt. Sorry, I'm over here. 2 teaspoons of salt. Let's switch places with the meat here. 2 teaspoons of salt. One cup of onion. There's our 1 cup of onion. Okay. Half a cup of celery. Measure. 1.5 cups of raw carrots. That's these. I measured this all out before just to save a little bit of time. And the same with the potatoes, 1.5 cups of raw potatoes. Okay, and we're just going to mix this together. Okay, it gets all that salt in there. And then it says to put that in our dish. Okay, so that's all laid out in our dish. Alright, and that's the first set of the first steps. Really easy. And then we're going to set that aside because now we have to make the meatballs. This is probably the part that's going to take the most time is your meatballs. Okay, so we get a clean bowl for the meatballs. We start with 1 pound of ground beef, 1 cup of dried breadcrumbs, 1 egg, and 1 tablespoon of chopped onion. 1 tablespoon of chopped onion. That's not a lot. Okay. 1 teaspoon of salt. Alright. And only a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Alright, and then we're going to mix that together. Well, you can mix it together with this, but that's what will happen. Best way to mix this, you wash your hands for a reason. Put your hands in there and mush it together. Okay. Once it's all blended in together, next thing we're going to do is we're going to make some meatballs, and then we have to brown them in a skillet with a little bit of oil. Okay, so I found this trusty little thing over here that I never thought I would use, but I'm going to use it today. And this was by my mother-in-law, owned this. And if anybody doesn't know what it is, it's a meatball maker. And you gotta see how it works. If not, we'll do it by hand. I don't know where. Oh, here it is. That's how it went through. Okay. So, take this, grab this. Down. Like that. Doesn't come out. So that is 1 big meatball. Let's see how many it makes, and then we'll decide if we're going to cut these down. That's an awful big meatball. It's like mini burgers. Oh, our oven's ready. If you make it ahead, I would say make it ahead and make sure you cover it really well and put it in the fridge. With an airtight lid on it. Overall, I think this is the most time consuming of it. It's going, oops, that was going to part. I think I can fix him. The most time consuming part seems to be making the meatballs, and then we're going to brown them, so that's going to be take the most time. Not very coordinated, but that's what you can see. I'm not a pro cook. That's a different way of sticking. But at least it gives you a size, and all of them will be the same, so they'll cook properly. You could probably measure it with 2 teaspoons. You're really good at guessing. You want them all to be about the same size so that when they cook, one doesn't crumble apart because it's overcooked, one doesn't get cooked because it's too big. Almost out of the meat here. That was a big piece of onion there. We are following the recipe. I'm not sure, but another way to save time might be to use frozen pre-diced carrots and the hash brown type potatoes. That one's stuck in the bowl. Yep. And this is going to be our last one. I think I've made quite a few. I think these will work at this size. I can make this one round. All right, and that's our meatballs are made. It didn't take too long. Now, the next thing we have to do is roll them in flour and put them in a pan with a little bit of oil. So I'm going to put some oil in the pan, just enough to cover the bottom. I'm going to turn it on to heat up, medium heat. And I'm going to get a plate. To put the flour on, I need to get the flour. I'll be right back.
I'm recording.
And we're back. I forgot I needed flour to roll these in. So I'm just going to put a little flour on the plate. The oil is heating up. I have the meatballs. It just says to brown the meatballs. We're not going to fully cook them because remember you got 2 hours cooking time in the oven. So let's roll them in flour. Okay. Now we have our meatballs covered in, drenched in flour, or rolled in flour. Right. Our oil is heating up. You want to make sure your oil is a little warm because if you put it in when it's cold, it's just going to absorb all the oil and all you're going to have is a grease ball. So make sure that your oil heats up. Don't put it on high, you'll just burn everything. almost there. There it goes. You start to hear it sizzling, and now you can start to feel the heat coming off of the pan. I'm not sticking my hand in the oil, I'm feeling the heat. You could probably use ground chicken or ground turkey, but I'm thinking that the meat might be a little drier with the turkey. Maybe not so much with the chicken, but the turkey might be a little dry. All right, they look like they're brown. Got a little pink on this one here. I'll turn them over. Ready to go. Turn my burner off. And now the next step, it says to put these on top of our vegetables. We're gonna go back over here to our vegetables. We're gonna grab a pot holder. May not have the best looking kitchen, but I still don't want to burn the counter. Okay, and we're going to put our meatballs on top of our vegetables. Now we have, ooh, that was hot. The last step is the sauce that we're going to put on it. And for that, all we need is the small bowl. It's the only one I have handy, so we'll use it. Our 2 cups of tomato juice. We just used this one. Okay. 3 tablespoons of flour, which I pre-measured. 3 tablespoons of flour. And that's it. That's all it is. And we're going to mix that up and pour it over. That's all it calls for. Cameraman falls. It's his first day of walking. Oh, that sounds nasty. What is with tomato? But it always sounds like that when you mix it. Alright, and then it says to just pour it over. So now with a casserole dish, it would be a little bit more confined. Out of here as I can. Alright. Looks like we pretty much got that all over the place. And then it says to bake. in a 350 degree oven for 2 hours. I think I'm gonna set it for an hour and I'm gonna go back and check it because we are using a shallower dish. The casserole dish would be more compact and deeper. So we're gonna put it in the oven for about an hour and come back and see what we have and go from there on timing. 2 hours in a casserole dish, maybe less in a cutter. In the oven we go. It does not say to cover it. It just says put me in the oven. So we'll see. That's it. We'll be back in an hour.
We'll be back.
All right, well, it took an hour and a half to cook in this pan. It probably would be a little soupier if you cooked it in the casserole dish. This way, dries it up a bit. Let's take it to the table.
And there it is.
All right, let's see how it tastes. Looks like it's done. Potatoes are soft. Carrots are soft. Meat's cooked all the way through. It's extremely hot. I'm gonna get a bite of everything. It's not working. Potatoes are definitely done. They're falling apart. It's not too bad. There's not a lot of seasoning in the meatballs.
So no Domino's tonight. Okay. Darn.
I have enough for food.
All right. Overall impression?
It's pretty good. I think it, in my opinion, there's a little too much salt in it. That one where we put 3 tablespoons of salt in it, I might want to cut that down because I can taste the salt. Other than that, it tastes pretty good. And for what's in it, it could probably use a little more. It needs something, but I'll have to think about it. Something's missing. But overall, it was a long recipe. It didn't take that long to throw it together. And you can pre-make it in the morning and leave it sit and throw it in the oven later. So, as it says, if I can make it, so can you.